For over 50 years, the moon has been a lonely ghost in our sky. Since the dust settled behind the departing ascent stage of Apollo 17, no human heartbeat has pulsed within its orbit. We left a plaque that said, "We came in peace for all mankind," and then we simply stopped. Why did we leave the silver wilderness for so long? Did we lose our nerve, or did we just lose our way? Today, the silence is about to be shattered. This isn't just a sequel, it's a global homecoming. Artemis II is the herald of a new era, a mission that proves humanity didn't just visit the moon. We are preparing to stay. 4 brave souls are about to venture into the deep black, flying further than any human being has traveled in half a century. Join me as we step onto the bridge of the most powerful rocket ever built and follow the path of Artemis II, the mission that will finally bring us back to the stars. In the 1960s, the Apollo program was born from the fires of the Cold War.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
It was a sprint, a high-stakes political chess match played out in the vacuum of space. We went to the moon to prove we could, to plant a flag, and to beat an adversary. But Apollo was a flags and footprints affair. Once the point was proven, the monumental funding evaporated, and the Saturn V rockets became museum pieces. Artemis is different. In Greek mythology, Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo and the goddess of the moon. It's a poetic and purposeful name. While Apollo was a sprint, Artemis is a marathon. This time, we aren't racing against a rival nation. We are racing against our own limitations. We are living in a golden age of spaceflight. With the rise of private titans like SpaceX and Blue Origin, the cost of reaching orbit is tumbling, and the technology is screaming forward. But more importantly, the philosophy has shifted. We no longer see the moon as a destination, but as a base camp. It is our 8th continent, a strategic outpost where we will learn to extract water from lunar ice and build shelters from moon dust. Artemis II is the crucial bridge. It's the stress test for the systems that will eventually ferry humans to Mars. We are moving from exploration to habitation, turning the moon into a celestial gas station and a laboratory that will unlock the secrets of the solar system. We aren't just going back, we are going forward, together. If the Apollo era was a 2-horse race between the United States and the Soviet Union, a frantic binary sprint fueled by Cold War anxiety, then Artemis is something far more complex. We have entered the era of the great satellite game. For decades, NASA held an uncontested throne in deep space. But today, the silence of the lunar plains is being interrupted by new players. The most formidable challenger is China. With their Chang'e program, China has achieved what no other nation has, landing on the mysterious far side of the moon and returning pristine lunar soil to Earth. Their ambition doesn't stop at footprints. They are actively planning the International Lunar Research Station, a direct rival to Western lunar architecture. Artemis II is Washington's strategic opening move in this new century. It isn't just about exploration, it's about the Artemis Accords, a set of international rules designed to ensure that space remains transparent, peaceful, and cooperative. By launching Artemis II, the U.S. is anchoring its vision for the rules of the road in the vacuum of space, asserting that the future of the moon should be governed by shared democratic values rather than territorial land grabs. The philosophy has shifted fundamentally. We are moving from planting flags to establishing residency. Apollo was a demonstration of raw power, a look what we can do moment. Artemis is about permanent presence. We are racing to the lunar South Pole not just for the view, but because the peaks of eternal light and the craters of eternal darkness hold the water ice and solar energy required for survival. To wait any longer is to risk being locked out of the most strategic real estate in the solar system. To maintain a seat at the head of the lunar table and to carry 4 pioneers across the celestial divide, you need more than a diplomatic treaty. You need more than a rocket. You need a monster. Enter the Space Launch System, or simply the SLS. Standing taller than the Statue of Liberty, the SLS is a colossus of engineering. At liftoff, its twin solid rocket boosters and 4 RS-25 engines, the same legendary engines that powered the space shuttle, will ignite with a fury that generates 8.8 million pounds of thrust. That's 15% more power than the Saturn V. Imagine the energy of 100,000 Corvette engines screaming at once. That is what it takes to punch through the gravity well of Earth. Perched atop this tower of fire is the Orion spacecraft. If the SLS is the muscle, Orion is the brain and the lifeboat. Unlike the shuttles of old, which stayed close to home, Orion is built for the deep. It is armored against the ghostly, invisible killers of space, cosmic radiation and solar flares that would fry standard electronics in days. One of the most critical pieces of hardware is the heat shield. When Orion returns from the moon, it won't be gliding, it will be falling. It will hit our atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, fast enough to cross the United States in 6 minutes. The friction will create a plasma sheath around the craft, heating the shield to a staggering 2,760 degrees Celsius. That's roughly half the temperature of the surface of the sun. It is a shield of high-tech scales designed to char and flake away, carrying the heat with it so the crew inside stays as cool as a summer afternoon. Inside, the cabin is a marvel of miniaturization. It's small, about the size of a large SUV for 4 people, but it's a palace compared to the Apollo capsules. It features touchscreens, advanced life support, and even a private area for exercise and hygiene. It's a cozy, pressurized bubble of life, screaming through a cold, indifferent vacuum. It is the most advanced ship ever built, a tiny island of us in an ocean of nothing. The mission of Artemis II is a 10-day high-wire act. It begins with the bone-shaking roar of launch. In the first 2 days, the crew won't leave Earth's backyard immediately. They will stay in a high Earth orbit, performing a checkout phase. Think of it as a shakedown cruise. They need to ensure the life support is breathing and the engines are humming before they commit to the long dark. Then comes the moment of truth, TLI, or trans-lunar injection. Orion will fire its service module engine, accelerating away from Earth's warm embrace at a speed that defies intuition. By day 4, the moon will grow from a silver coin to a colossal cratered world filling the windows. Artemis II will perform a free return trajectory. They won't orbit. Instead, they will use the moon's gravity like a cosmic slingshot. They will swing around the far side, the mysterious dark side that never faces Earth. During this passage, the crew will experience a profound, terrifying silence. As the bulk of the moon blocks out the Earth, all radio contact will vanish. For a few hours, they will be the most isolated humans in history. No internet, no mission control, just the ticking of the clock and the shadows of lunar craters passing beneath them. But then, as they emerge from the shadows, they will witness the Earthrise. They will see our blue marble peeking over the desolate lunar horizon, a fragile, glowing jewel hanging in a velvet void. It's an experience often described as spiritual, a moment that reminds us how small our squabbles are compared to the majesty of the cosmos. The final leg is the long fall home. On day 10, Orion will shed its service module, tilt its heat shield toward the atmosphere, and plunge into the Pacific Ocean, a splashdown. The classic, triumphant end to a voyage into the unknown. Make no mistake, space is trying to kill you. Artemis II is a journey through a literal minefield of physics. First, there's the Van Allen radiation belts. These are intense zones of trapped solar particles encircling Earth. Orion has to zip through them quickly to minimize the dose the crew receives. A solar flare during the mission could be catastrophic, turning the spacecraft into a microwave. The crew has a storm shelter area inside, but the risk remains a chilling reality. Then, there's the mechanical what-ifs. We all remember Apollo 13, a successful failure, where an oxygen tank explosion turned a lunar landing into a desperate fight for survival. On Artemis II, if an engine fails to fire or a seal leaks, there is no pulling over. They are on a ballistic path. Every bolt and every line of code must be perfect. Finally, there's the psychological toll. These 4 people will be cramped in a metal tin, further from help than any human has ever been. They will face the overview effect, a cognitive shift that happens when you see the Earth as a tiny, borderless speck. The pressure of being the chosen ones for all humanity is a heavy crown to wear. One mistake doesn't just cost a life, it could derail the future of our species' expansion into the stars. Why go through all this trouble? Because the moon is the gateway to the rest of the universe. In future missions, we will build the Lunar Gateway, a space station orbiting the moon that acts as a staging ground. We've discovered that the moon's south pole is home to deep, permanently shadowed craters filled with water ice. Water is gold in space. We can drink it, we can breathe its oxygen, and we can split it to create liquid hydrogen rocket fuel. Artemis II is the proof of concept for the 2030s. If we can master the moon, we can master the 2-year journey to Mars. We are learning how to live off the land, how to survive in a place that doesn't want us there. The moon isn't just a rock, it's a stepping stone to the red sands of the 4th planet. Artemis II is more than a mission, it's a promise. It tells us that our era of looking inward is over, and our era of looking outward has begun. We are no longer content to just watch the stars. We are going to walk among them. The Artemis generation isn't just the people in the cockpit, it's you. It's the students, the engineers, and the dreamers who realize that we are all made of the same stardust as the worlds we are exploring. So, I have to ask, if you were given a seat on the next ship to the lunar surface, what is the one thing you would take with you to remember Earth? Let me know in the comments below. We go not because it is easy, but because we are born to wander.